Welcome back, everybody. Thank you for tuning in to more of Kinkoi. We are your hosts, Man of Stage and
Seren Prince. And together we are Bridge Boys Broadcasting.
all right. When we last off our intrepid journey
We were looking at the sky. Sky-chan.
and saving things for later, apparently. So here we go.
シルビー様、午後の授業始まっています。お早く。はいはい。
Ellis-san urged Sylvia-san along before rushing off. Come to think of it, it was just before 2 p.m. Less than 2 hours had passed since I had first ran off with the princess during her lunch break. It had been a very eventful hour. But not that eventful, apparently.
Dots.
It was almost nostalgic, as I hadn't been using my time wisely lately.
市松様、日本警察への伝達が済みました。外に出ても結構です。
Thank goodness.
I can finally be free of this gilded cage.
No, he's stuck in the gilded cage.
Well, at least it's gilded with blonde hair. Ah. A large weight had been lifted from my shoulders. Whew. Even though I was still surrounded by men in black suits, and also that one woman. We keep neglecting the one woman. The old man was no longer carrying his sword. Looks like I managed to escape this crisis unscathed. In exchange for moving into this school, that is.
Dot. I'm gonna ask this again just to be sure, but I'm seriously going to attend this school?
手続きは私どもで済ませます。入試の類も免除していただきましょう。追手は煩わせません。
Well, thank God for that. I was gonna fail.
Oh, yeah. Oh, man.
I did
Like
not study.
25.
I was like, if running through town carrying a blonde princess is the qualifier, then I'd be great, but otherwise we're screwed.
シルビア様がそう望まれ、あなたも肯定した以上、保護にするのは避けていただきたいですな。
It was a little unsettling considering how sudden all of this was, but
まあよろしいではありませんか。年齢もちょうどのようですし。
市松様は前の学園はもう退学なさっていますでしょ。
One, two, three, four, fifth. I plead the fifth. Yeah, that's true.
they looked into everything, huh? That was why I was strolling around town in the middle of a weekday afternoon. Sylvia-san seemed to have snuck out of school, but I wasn't attending classes in the first place.
それが労せず日本有数のエリート校に入れたと思えば、むしろ得だとは思いませんか？
Alright, everything's coming up, Ouro.
将来進学や就職を考えても良い工程ですぞ。日本国は出身校が特に就職に極めて重要だそうで。
They had a point. Perhaps I should start thinking about my future. I was attending this city's leading school for idiots before dropping out. Transferring to Noble Academy was a huge step up. It wasn't like I had any lingering attachment to my last school anyway.
Well, thank you for taking care of me all the same.
はい。明日までに転入手続きは済ませておきます。
With that, the old man's expression, which had been largely unreadable until now, broke into a broad smile.
これで先ほどの行為は明確に、シルビア様によるお友達のための道案内ということになりました。追いかけ回し、まして取り調べにかけた非礼、どうぞお許しください。
It's all good, happens to me all the time. Both of them bowed deeply.
No, wait, you don't need to do that.
Especially since your character models actually cannot seem to. I knew they were just being courteous and going along with the story they'd cooked up, but it was still unsettling. However, neither of them raised their heads.
どうか、謝罪をお受けください。勘違いして、シルビア様の友人を追いかけるなど、我らソルティレージュ騎士員の沽券に関わる恥です。
私めの若い自分であれば、こんな失態があれば当該の責任者である副長、この私めの腕を取って献上するところですが。
What?
Say what?
冗談です。
Only joking, but really.
Just kidding, that's why you can only see the one hand.
Yeah.
He lifted his head with a laugh. That scared me. They'd mentioned something like that earlier, too. If it were a joke, then I'd wish they'd knock it off. Were their sensitivities different from those of Japanese people?
感覚が日本人とは違うとお思いですかな?
Oh my god, he's a mind reader.
No, not at all.
That's exactly what I was thinking. He saw straight through me. Especially since I'm the fourth wall. What a mysterious old man, Master Roshi.
確かに感覚は違うやもしれませんな。日本人でしたら腹を切るところでしょう。
That's from a different era.
That was an exaggeration, even if you went an era back.
Well,
yeah.
I was like, I can think of some businessmen who've done that in the last, 20, 30 years. So,
Yeah. Or so I thought, but...
しかし違う感覚は文化だけ。我々も心根は日本人と、少なくともこの学園の建てられた意義と同じであることを、くれぐれもご留意ください。
Sir?
Harry.
あらゆる諸者諸行には、すべからく責任が伴います。人が生まれ、生きる上で無駄なことなど何一つない。それがこのノーブル学園の根底。だからこそ、シルビア様はご留学をお決めになった。無駄な時間などない。あらゆる時間に腕を取られ、腹を切るくらいの価値を見出してくださいませ。姫様のご友人であれば、なおさら。
Right.
He replied with a serious look on his face. I was left bewildered, unsure of what he was saying. Well, nothing is meaningless. Those words really struck a chord with me. Then...
ねえ、やっぱ遅れちゃった。
おや、妃様。もう授業は始まっておりますよ。
ああ、ジーヤさん。ジース。
Grampy.
もう、シルビー見つかったなら早く教えてよ。探したよ。
失礼を。しかし私どもは、あなた様まで外にいることは知らない手はずでしたゆえ。
チェー。その人誰？新しい騎士さん？
I am Dotsalot, Sir Dotsalot.
編入生にございます。明日より妃様にとっても同級のご学友になられます。
The girl eyed me closely. A wild protagonist appears. Was she a student here too? After dealing with a princess and a lady knight, I was under the impression that only rich girls attended this school, giving the elite nature, but she kind of looked like an ordinary trendy girl.
あれ？自分さっき街にいなかった？
Huh?
ほら、1時間くらい前、駅前のナックでシェイク買ってたっしょ。私の前に並んでたよ。
Nick D's, my favorite fast food
Man,
place.
you know what really sucks when the Nick Flurry machine doesn't work?
Oh man, it never does. Oh wait, no, you're thinking of the Nick Flurry.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
I was at the Nick D's before running into Sylvia-san, but I don't recall anyone lining up behind me though. And I always remember every time I pay a visit to Nick D's.
覚えてるよ。平日の昼間なのに学校行ってないのかなって思って。なんだよ、転入かよ。じゃあ今日は手続き的なのだったのね。
Yeah, I guess.
That was how it turned out just a short time ago. The two men in black suits were forcing a smile.
あたしレイナ、木崎レイナね。よろ。
Yeah, likewise. I'm Ouro, Ichimatsu Ouro.
オーロね、覚えた。
Reina smiled wide. Unlike the transcendently beautiful Sylvia-san or Ellie, she had a cute, ordinary face filled with Japanese charm. But she was still blonde.
授業では。じゃあ、ジエさんにオーロ、鳥間、挨拶までってことで。
She gave us a quick wink and turned away.
ああ、キサキ様。
はいあ。
When he called out to her, Rena quickly realized what she was holding. It'd been pretty bad if she had walked into class with candy.
あー。Hey, オーロ、パス。
She handed it over.
あげる。裾上げ
お裾分け。
それそれ。じゃあ。
And away she went. All she left in her wake was a round candy with teeth marks in it.
I will treasure this for the rest of my life. Is it really okay for a princess to attend a school like this?
シルビア様の望んだことです。
In the end, I returned home.
この学園は全寮制ですゆえ、引っ越す準備をお願いします。必要な荷物をまとめてください。5時にお伺いします。
I'm moving in too?
規則ですので。
This drastic lifestyle change was kind of overwhelming. But
そこの君、話を聞かせてほしいんだが。
Yeah?
you want to buy a piece of candy that's already got some teeth marks in it?
That's what I'm trying to sell.
Oh crap, I didn't realize there were other people in this industry.
警察のものです。
Oh crap! He showed me his identification.
お話はこちらでします。
ああ、どうも。
市松様は荷物をまとめてくださいね。
Yes, ma'am.
Looks like I had nowhere to run.
Nowhere to hide.
Afterward, when I got home, the cops had apparently talked to my parents and they gave me one hell of a talking to. I hadn't done anything wrong and made it a priority to calm them down. And explained that the thing they were most concerned about, namely the tuition fee for attending a super rich school, was fully covered.
I was wondering that too.
It's a convenient deus ex, don't knock it.
Yeah.
Was that really okay? As a result, a dropout like me managed to enroll in one of the most elite schools in Japan. That aspect piqued my parents' interest. Oh, rubbing elbows with the finest. With that, I ended up packing my belongings just like I was told. What was going to happen to me going forward? Clack? Clack. Clack, clack, clack. I guess I don't really need to clack because there are sound effects. I booted up my computer and opened a video file. A file containing the diva, Maria Bishop. Ah, so soothing. Even though she's not blonde. I put the song on repeat. Starting tomorrow. Well, things would work out somehow. No matter where I moved to, I'd be fine so long as I could hear this beautiful voice.
It'd be funny if he wasn't into blondes.
金色ラブリッチ
Plot
you.
twist.
Yeah, he's like not into blonde, so this is actually just like hell.
I'm actually into redheads. This is kind of a problem.
Ooh, wrong country.
Oh. Noble Private Academy. The basis of its educational policy was a pressure-free education. Pressure-free education. A so-called education free of cramming that the generation slightly older than us fully enjoyed. Nowadays, middle-aged men and women were critical of young people having downtime. It wasn't intended to promote an easygoing education, but more so allowed students the ability to study something in the free time they had been given. It was similar to how teachers would give more independent study projects for homework over study break. They should have just called it expertise training instead. I wasn't sure what the end result was, though. While averages supposedly dropped nationwide, more students won gold medals at academic world competitions. Well, in any case, upon this inception, Noble Academy was specifically tailored to this concept of a pressure-free education. Had it only been a few years since it was built? It certainly wasn't around when I was a kid, right? Either way, it being a pressure-free environment was one of the school's unique selling points. The term itself was coined by all the political initiatives at the time, which promised to reduce the time involved in academics. These same politicians, however, did not explicitly state how that newly free time would be allotted to an individual's field of expertise. Noble Academy were the ones to come out and say as much. Hence, expertise training. Which is why ordinary classes only accounted for half the school day, while the other half allowed students to take classes in their field of choice. Good lord, this is a lot of exposition.
I was about to say, I'm laughing on my end. You have played Hamlet, right?
Yes.
You know when you look at really half, because he just talks for half of his entire show.
Yes.
When you look at most of his monologues and it's just 3 pages of blocks, like text.
I'm having some horrific flashbacks right now.
Yeah, that's what this reminds me of.
Good lord. Is this a soliloquy or what? Okay. Oh, back
All right, you get back to your soliloquy. I'll just make do with my dots.
I'm glad you're enjoying your dots. If that were all, it would only amount to a school with a slightly heavy emphasis on club activities, but at Noble Academy, these elective courses did not have a lighter workload by any means. There was nothing pressure-free about them. And yet, the school had seemingly made use of its political and business connections to procure teachers who were experts in their fields for those classes. Elitism was an outdated term, but it had been given new life here in Japan, where everyone held hands in a harmonious fashion. An elite rearing system. Is this for children or breeding horses?
You see, you went in a completely different direction than me, because I was thinking, I'm sure there's an H scene where I'm going to give someone an elite rearing.
Anyway.
You're welcome.
That was Noble Academy. And it was said to be a school where one studied nobility. Fancy. Well, all plans for pressure-free education ended in failure, but Noble Academy's expert planning policy was well received by parents who wanted their children to have an extraordinary upbringing. Elite rearing system, unnecessary quotation marks, had a certain direct fancy ring to it politicians and affluent members of society had once gathered here. As a result, the school received a flood of admission applications from across Japan and exceeded 100 times the academy's capacity. This would only provide them even more publicity in the coming year. At this point in time, not even 1 in 1,000 people were accepted into the academy.
Is it really okay for someone, like me to go to this school?
シルビア王女のご意向ですので。
Royalty was incredible.
Ooh.
There's an owl in here.
Well, not like I could do anything about it. Better to just set my sights on graduation and dream of a bright and shining future.
As long as I graduated, yesterday's incident would be water under the bridge. I would be recognized as a Noble Academy graduate. It was vulgar of me to say, but I found the prospect to be very appealing.
はい。頑張ってください。
オーラ。
おはようございます。
Ah, hello.
Ah. It was the princess and Lady Knight from yesterday.
嬉しいわ。今日からクラスメートね。
Looks like it.
私も同様です。よろしくお願いします。
Yeah, yeah.
She was a little scary. And...
グエ。
Ah, it actually is now!
What's that?
It's Priest. No. I caught a glimpse of it earlier, but something was walking around on 2 legs by Sylvie's feet. Was it a machine? I couldn't see it as anything but a toy.
ああ、紹介するわ、オーラ。私のお友達で、キュロちゃんよ。
Is that Kyoto-chan from the shop? I almost said Chocoboros. From the Chocolate Bolos?
I mean, it's close. Weren't they referred to as Chocobolos
It
in the
was.
last episode?
That's what they themselves called it, which is why when I saw it, it popped in my head.
Okay. Yeah, I thought you were right.
Yeah.
It definitely looked familiar.
かわいいでしょ？チョコボールのラブリッチマークでもらえるおもちゃの缶詰についてきたのよ。
Oh, that's where the name comes from.
Yeah. I'm familiar with it. Every Japanese person dreamt of having at least one, but 99% failed.
But the last one stood up, and that's where you'll live.
That's what you'll get.
I don't want to rule, I just want to sing. I was collecting them too.
But the toys aren't supposed to be able to talk.
おー、うん。この子はね、うちでカスタマイズしたの。
ソルティレージが誇る科学力の粋を集め、人工知能を搭載したのです。
Thanks, Jeff Bezos.
The Sortilege seems less like a fantasy world and more sci-fi.
我が国の科学技術は世界的に有名ですよ。米国やイギリス、ロシアの軍隊も3割が我が国の軍需企業、ベルリオーズの特許物を使っています。
Astounding.
ちなみにキュロ殿も、今や可愛いだけでなく、立派な軍事兵器です。
Is it going to kill us with cuteness? It was at that moment when a huge buzzing wasp flew by and was aimed right at Sylvie.
Watch out! It was super effective.
Level up.
It disintegrated?
Laser shot out from the toy's eyes and instantly reduced the wasp to ash.
彼一人で武装したネイビー100人とも渡り合える最新鋭の兵器技術が詰まっています。
That seems like overkill, but okay.
もう、キュロちゃんは可愛いだけでいいのに。
Thank you.
It only needs to be cute. But we said, hey, Superman, would you mind training with this Kyoto-chan?
Actually, he didn't train. What they did is they took out his brain and stuck it in the robot.
普段はそれで結構です。しかし今後は常におそばに置いておいてください。二度と誘拐事件などが起こらぬように。
は
A
ーい。
pet and a bodyguard, huh?
I'm pretty sure this wasn't around yesterday.
If it had been, we wouldn't be around today.
Yeah.
ちょうどメンテナンスの日でしたので。
What a convenient turn of events.
Would I have been in danger if that thing had been around?
即死とは言いませんが、ただでは済まなかったでしょうね。
Thank God for that.
Scary.
Thank you.
All right.
My work here is done.
それで、時間まだあるかしら。
30分ほど。
じゃあ学園をできるだけ案内するわ。来て、オーラ。
Oh, sure.
Just like before, I was getting dragged along by a princess. Ow. Sylvie's toy, Kuro-chan, tagged along with us and was propelled by a small jet under its feet.
It can fly?
It can fly!
あれくらいは普通です。
Fucking dumbass? Of course it can.
あっ
Well,
ちが
yeah.
食堂、あっちが武道場。
The on-site facilities were identical to what you'd find at an ordinary academy. With it being brand new, the campus was practically spotless, but there was nothing especially unique about it. More importantly, what was it? It was like... something about this place felt familiar to me. Deja vu? It was difficult to describe, but maybe it was the feel of the wind or how everyone smelled. It was like they all jogged my memory.
でね、ここはグラウンドがすごく広くて、私マラソンで一周するだけでヘトヘトに。
シルビー様、あと10分です。
いけない。
We were apparently short on time.
じゃあオーラ、最後にとびきりの場所に案内するわ。
Huh? Whoa.
She tugged on my hand. I followed her and then...
すごいでしょ。
ノーブル学園の誇る音楽堂です。防音と反響は本格的な水準で計算されており、小型のホールとしても使えます。
They got better acoustics than we do.
収容人数が100もないのが残念だけどね。ちょっとしたコンサートができるのよ。オーロ？
This place was...
何か？
Yeah.
The interior, that antique piano. I knew this place. I knew it. I had been here before. Many times.
Wasn't this place a church before?
知ってるの？
地元の方ならおかしくはないですが、奇遇ですね。この場所はノーブル学園ができる前からあったそうです。それで学園を作るとき、せっかくなのでと再利用されることに。
私も昔来たことがあるの。大好きだったわ。ここが再利用されてると聞いたのも留学を決めた理由の一つよ。
Everything they had said went in one ear and out the other. Memories were flooding back to me with each passing second. That familiar feeling I got earlier hadn't been wrong. I'd visited this place many years ago. I'd happened to come from the empty shore where Noble Academy now stood, likely for a camp or something similar. That was when I saw a dilapidated church. Which was when...
ねえ、イチ。離れ離れになっても友達よね。
シルビア様、あと3分です。
As a side note, why are our memory voices so much louder than everybody else?
I was about to say, how come, like, we just never talked for, like, 20 years?
We actually were originally mute.
おっと、もう限界か。
Actually, maybe we just forgot to turn our microphones on.
I was about to say, or we didn't adjust our audio levels. It happens.
我々は参ります。市松殿は職員室へ。
Yeah. Yeah.
I saw the two of them off. A part of me wanted to stay in this concert hall for a while longer, but
市松様、こちらです。
Yes, ma'am.
first I needed to finish transferring in. She had handled all of the paperwork for me.
教室はあちらです。
Yes, ma'am.
She pointed to the
I'm
classroom.
sad she's not a route.
Do we know this?
The four people in the title screen are routes, and then there's another one, but it's not her.
Huh. All right.
Yeah.
I just assumed since she was blonde, it was like, well, maybe.
Yeah, and she actually has like a character model. Yeah.
That's true, but by that logic, that would also mean Grampy has a route.
Touche.
She pointed to the classroom Sylvia-san and Ellie-san had gone into yesterday. All right, I guess it was finally time.
I'll be going now, Ixna-san.
いってらっしゃいませ。
I had more or less made friends with the black-suited guard from yesterday and walked into the classroom. She has a name! Class 2A.
That's not it.
No, that is not. I would be studying here going forward.
市松様、頑張ってください。
You got it. Do the bare minimum.
C's get degrees.
今日から皆さんと学習を共にする市松くんです。市松王子くん
Ouro, actually. The last kanji in my name is pronounced as Ouro.
That's your catchphrase. That and dots.
I was about to say, no, it's not. My catchphrase is... I'm Ichimatsu Ouro.
My new homeroom teacher introduced me as I stood at the podium. I bowed my head firmly to everyone in the class. I'd gotten a good look at the uniforms yesterday, but noticed the collars were much stiffer than average. Either way, it looked like a fairly docile bunch. There were some familiar faces in the crowd, too. Sylvia-san was waving her hand at me with a sweet smile. Ellie-san was acting like an ordinary student. Maybe that was part of her job as Sylvia's guard? Or Sylvie's guard?
何か挨拶を。
Oh, yes, ma'am. I will be joining your class as of today. I hope we all get along.
Opting for the extraordinary and extremely safe greeting seemed like the best way to go. It'd feel weird saying it out loud, but I was fairly confident in my communication skills. Enough to give off...
Not by that speech, you aren't.
I think there's a little bit of dissonance between how Ouro views himself in his mind and how he actually is.
Yeah, that's actually fair.
Enough to give off the aura of an easy to hang out with guy.
Well, I don't know. Okay, that may be true because, like, imagine you're hanging out with really anybody and you're just like, hey, man, what do you think of that? Yeah, me too. Yeah, maybe. I don't know.
You know, actually, that's a pretty good plot point. That gets used a lot because there's just like, yeah, thanks, silent guy in the corner. I'm glad you always have my back.
Yep, he's that guy. Except he ends up, like, silent bobbing and having, like, an actual monologue at some point.
I'm looking forward to the conversation back and forth where you just have, like, this heated argument, and it's like, damn it, Ouro, you're always right about these things. ...
Pleased to make your acquaintance.
Plop. Plop. Plop.
Plop.
I bowed my head.
ほらね、庶民でしょ
Oh shit, they're onto me. Huh?
わかりやすいくらい庶民よね。市松なんて聞いたこともないし。
Well, I've heard of a lot of female student A's, so yeah.
Yeah.
また庶民が増えるのかよ、このクラス。いい加減にしてくれよ。
No, you give me a break, male student A.
うちのク クラス
Talk,
庶民に受け皿
talking,
なんて
talking
ない
a
けど
lot of shit for people without names.
Or pictures. Oh shit, we don't have one. Well, no, we kind of do.
We do. We even have eyes, if I remember correctly, which is
Oh yeah, that's right.
something.
That's
Yeah.
right.
まあまあみんな庶民にも寛容にうちのママがよく言っているよ
Could y'all in the back keep it down? We can't hear the unnamed students talking. What? What was up with all this tension? Half of the class looked disinterested, and the other half was cackling. They were laughing at me, right? Why was I being laughed at?
はい、皆さん市松くんに何か聞きたいことなど
The teacher pushed the conversation along without a care.
はいはいはい市松くんのお父さんのご職業は
もうやめなよ男子そういう恥ずかしいこと聞くの私一度でいいので相手と方というお仕事の方にお会いしたいですわ違いますかしら
The joke's on you. I never knew my father. What kind of reaction was that? While I was left standing there, utterly perplexed.
皆さんお静かに
Oh. A beautiful black-haired girl stood from her seat. The laughter embroiling the class immediately ceased and simmered down from cackles to amused smirks, but the background noise kept going.
興味は尽きないところでしょうが曲がりなりにも新しい仲間ですまずは歓迎しませんと我々の品位に関わりますはじめまして市松さん私このクラスの級長をしております城ヶ崎彩香と申します
It's a pleasure, girl I wish was around.
She seemed like a stereotypical upper-class girl. At a cursory glance, I could see there were 10 other girls just like her in the class, but she had the biggest presence of them all. No, she does not.
Well, oh yeah, I
大ヶ
guess
崎さんはテレビ
What's
局
your
の
name?
保守テレビ会長一族のご令嬢だぞお前みたいな庶民でもわかるだろ
Yeah, that's... You bring up a good point.
the Fox TV.
あれ庶民の家でもテレビはあるよね
No, we just sit around listening to the radio! It's not that funny. There was that laughter again. Gonna smack her. Setting that aside,
I have heard of Hoshi TV, yes.
I've also heard of Hideo.
あらそう
I just got that.
お気になさらないで父は父私は私です
And I am the walrus, Kukukachu. Bother me? How so exactly?
Nice to meet you, Jogasaki-san.
よろしくお願いします
She bowed her head deeply. How polite. She really did have that high-class lady feel to her.
この教室は少々格差が激しいですけど庶民だからって差別するようなことはないはずよちょっと戸惑うこともあるでしょうけどお気になさらず
Okay, you know what? The background noise is driving me nuts.
It actually is kind of for me too, I'll be honest.
God. Okay, I get it's trying to be immersive, but good lord. Like it or not, her smile looked exactly the same as every other student in the classroom. She took a step back. She gave me a spritz of perfume in a showy fashion. I didn't think I particularly smelled bad or anything. No matter how slow on the uptake I might be, even I could sense the awful vibe circulating around the classroom.
他に質問はありませんねでは市松くん席についてください
Will do.
I didn't want to start a fight on my first day at a new school. Better not let it get me down. I headed to my designated seat.
That's not my designated seat.
Or is it?
Hey.
That girl I saw yesterday. Oh, there wasn't an exclamation point. It's just hard to read sometimes.
I thought you were just going with a read, and I was like, yeah, sure, why not?
No. That girl I saw yesterday was in a seat along the way.
うっす。気をつけて。
Huh?
She whispered something to me. Watch out. For what? No sooner did I wonder.
And that's when the bullet hit.
I wondered why the frisbee was getting larger, and then it hit me. Did this situation head into an unexpected direction? Pow!
Yeah.
じゃあ、
Ow. I fell over. No, I was tripped.
おっと、足が当たってしまった。
Before I could even stand, I heard a roar of laughter from the class behind me.
気をつけてくれよ。僕のズボンはパリの仕立て屋に頼んだものなんだから、汚したりしたら。
This whole predicament.
オーロ、大丈夫？
Hmm?
は？
Went into an unexpected direction.
Yeah. I'm fine. Yeah.
どうしたの？何もないところでつまずくなんて。
I just have really poor motor skills, that's all. Sylvia-san helped me up.
ああ、緊張しているのね、オーロ。急な転入だし、当然だわ。クルス・クラウン様が、ファーストネームを？
呼び捨て？
The classroom stirred. Sylvia-san seemed completely unfazed.
昨日、あの後反省したの。あなたのためとは思ったけれど、結果、私の一存で決めたみたくなってしまって。
Not at all. You actually bailed me out.
そうそう言ってくれると嬉しい。ようこそ、オーラ。今日から一緒の学校になれて、とても嬉しいわ。
And smiled sweetly at me. That smile lulled me into a grin of my own. And with that, everyone's faces suddenly went stiff.
Yeah,
Suck
because
it.
she outranks all of them. She's an actual princess.
クルス・クラウンさん？彼は知り合いなんですか？
Ha ha ha. Weep mortals.
オーロは私の大切なお友達や。はぁ？
クルス・クラウン王女の
お友達？先生、オーロは緊張しているみたいだわ。私、オーロの近くの席に行っていいかしら？はい。ですって。ねえ、あなた、席変わってもらってよろしい？
はい。はい。
ありがとう。
The guy who tripped me dragged his desk and chair away while looking dreadfully disappointed. I guess a princess was special even in a classroom full of well-off young men and women. Sylvia-san's desk was brought over in its place.
ありがとう、エル。ほら、オーロ座って。後ろ前の席になったわね。
Yeah.
I took my seat behind Sylvia-san as she delightedly sat down. Everyone in the class was still shaken to their cores. They were having trouble sizing up who I, a commoner, was. This turn of events felt fantastic.
楽しくなりそう。昨日から反省すると同時にずっとワクワクしてたのよ。オーロが一緒だなんてどんなに楽しいことになるか。あら？オーロ、ネクタイがなんだか変よ。
Maybe I tied it wrong. I looked it up online, but I've never worn a tie before.
コップの形が変だわ。任せて。
Tug. Tug. She unraveled it once.
こうして、こうして。あわわわわ、クルスクランさんがネクタイを。
嘘だろ、嘘だろ。僕だってママにしかしてもらったことないのに。
羨ましい。
I'm sorry I can't hear you. There's a princess nearby.
Also, take some fiber. It sounds like you're struggling.
こうね。
Thanks, Sylvia-san. Sylvia-san. Hey, too tight. Too tight.
あら、変ね。綺麗にならない。こうだったかしら。
Dying. Just dying here.
王女様と新婚3日目みたいなことしてる。
不死だらですわ。ごめんなさい。やったことがないからわからないわ。エル、お願い。
はい。
Please.
一松殿、こちらへ。
Sure.
こうして、こうして、こうですよ。
Tearing my neck off!
我が校の全女子がマストで憧れるカバレロさんにまで。
やってることはどっちも殺しにかかってるけど、嘘だろ？
はいはい。転校生がしめ鯖になる前に回してね。
The girl from earlier walked over to us.
ネクタイってのは、こうしてこうして、こうよ。
Oh.
This time my necktie was tied up nice and tight. I can breathe! I can fight!
I can fight!
Yep.
Thanks.
いえいえ。すごいわ。綺麗になった。
すいません。力及ばず。
やっぱりレイナはファッションの天才ね。やめろよ。にしても、シルビーのダチってマジモンだったんだ、オーロ。
Well,
びっくりかよ。シルビー一応王女なのに。
Well, you see, there's a little bit of backstory, but you have to watch episode 1 to find out what it was.
Incidentally, if you're watching for the first time for episode 2, why? There's an episode 1.
Unless you really like jumping ahead. If you're one of those people that reads the entire synopsis before actually watching the movie, then you're a sad person.
一応でなく王女だし、一応でなくオーロは友達や。
That's a lot of emphasis.
There's only 2.
No, but I mean the implication.
Yeah, that's true.
そうなんオーロ。
Yeah, we're friends.
She had to be, or else I'd lose my arm.
I didn't notice Ellis-san on the right with that look.
Oh, geez, I didn't either. I was like, well, that's how tight I'm gonna tie off that tourniquet when I get done chopping your hands off.
じゃあ、私も友達だね。
Sure. Actually, are you and Sylvia-san friends?
お友達や。ねえ、レイナ。ねえ。
They both smiled. So mismatched. I quickly glanced over at Ellis-san's face. No real reaction from Sylvia-san's nightly chaperone. I guess she wasn't a bad person, her oddball enthusiasm aside.
シルビーとオーロ。王女とオーロだね。
Oh hey, it's an episode title.
Aww, get in.
ああ、すごいわ、レイナ。日本語のわびさびだわ。
I don't get it.
They did seem to be on the same wavelength.
Well, nice to meet you, Reina.
She laughed in response. Unlike the cackles from my other classmates, her laugh had no malice to speak of.
まあまあ、ほら、クルスクラウンさんって、レナにもナチュラルな方だし。おおらかなのね。さすがクルスクラウン様ですわ。
Everyone around us was still in shock, but they seemed to have come to terms with the spectacle they had just witnessed. Reina returned to her seat, and Sylvia-san and I took our own seats.
オーロがレーナとも仲良くなってくれて嬉しい。
Yeah.
For me, it was a huge lifesaver to have at least a few approachable classmates.
ところでオーロ、シルビアさんって何？
Huh?
レーナのことはもうレーナだったのに、どうして私だけさん付けなの？
Ah.
I recalled what she said to me yesterday.
Well, you know.
ごまかされないわよ。私のことは？
Sylvia.
ん？
Sylvie.
やらしい。
She smiled sweetly. Ellie-san had a scary look in her eyes, but I'd prefer not to be separated and move to a different seat in this situation. Sylvie, huh? Now that I tried saying it, it felt kind of nice.
では、授業を始めます。
The teacher never interrupted Sylvie's conversation, then began the lesson shortly thereafter. Oh, come to think of it.
オーロ、教科書はある？
They said I'd be issued one in about 3 days.
そう。じゃあ、私のを。
いえ、シルビアさん。前と後ろでは見せ合いにくいでしょう。ここは、隣の席の僕の出番かと。
Nobody asked you.
You blocking me here, man.
菊千代くん。そうね。お願いするわ。オーロ、こちら、録音寺菊千代くん。
録音時菊千代です。よろしく。
The lady just said your name. You don't need to repeat it and get out of here. Third wheel.
いい人よ。
善人です。
What a weird guy.
Oh, sure. Nice to meet you.
I didn't especially care about the textbook, but I may as well if he was willing to share. Sylvie faced forward, and I pushed my desk up against my neighbor's.
Rokonji-kun.
菊千代で結構ですよ。クラスメイトなのですから。その代わり僕も、オーロくんと呼ばせていただきます。
Sure. Kekuchiyo then.
This guy was...
お気になさらず。現代の貴族たる僕と庶民のオーロくんでも、同い年なのです。変わらぬ態度で接していただければ嬉しいです。
Still talking. Another rich boy, huh? Still, I got the sense that he wasn't part of the circle of people laughing and making fun of me earlier.
He's like the only good dude here.
You're okay in our book, even if you did get in the way.
I think I've heard the name Rokonji before.
おや、ご存知ですか？光栄ですね。日本最大の企業、三菱コーポレーションを滑る録音事件。政界財界では知らぬもののないとはいえ、庶民の間にまで名前が知れているのは驚きです。
Oh man, they make everything.
Man, they make tanks.
They make cars, they make air conditioning.
Planes.
Dang.
Matsubishi. The one that does heavy industry and planes? Like in World of Warplanes?
はい。
And pencils?
あ、そこは違います。
Oh, it's the other Mitsubishi.
It's the Matsubishi.
Ah, ha, ha.
Oh, awesome. You must be like super rich.
As a Japanese person, I found domestic wealth to be much more impressive than some foreign princess. He has weird standards.
そうですね。我が一族の偉大さを思えば、金持ちなどというチープな表現はいささか無粋ですが、 庶民の感覚ではそれでいいと思います。そして現代の貴族である僕のような人種はオーロ君のような庶民にも幸福を分け与えるのが義務。ノブレス・オブリージュの精神を忘れてはならない。困ったことがあれば何でもおっしゃってください。
Hey, you're an alright dude, Red Tory. Sure.
Some of the things he said ticked me off. But at the very least, he wasn't sneering at me like the others. Fine then, I take a look at his textbook and put my full effort into this class.
Alright, well that about wraps up part 2. Most of our class is assholes, so that's going to be a thing going forward.
At least the condescending guy in glasses is somewhat nice.
Yeah, that's something. And like, you know, the 3 blonde girls like us, and that's really what counts because they're like 3 of the 5 routes.
And D'Artagnan. That's Exena.
All right, well, thank you everybody. Tune in for part 3.
All right. Well, until the next episode, we are the Bridge Boys, signing off.